This is the 22nd season of Bass Talk Live. BTL is presented by Bass Cat Boats, Strike King Lures, AFTCO, Pro Guide Batteries, Spro, Gamakatsu, The Bass Tank, Beatdown Outdoors, and Sunline.
BTL coming at you.
Good morning and welcome to another exciting edition of BTL Bass Talk Live, where we're going to talk about bass fishing. We got the classic champ on the show today, so I wanted to make sure that the hat and the sweatshirt matched. And I grabbed the Best on Tour hoodie, and I didn't realize, oh yeah, you can see right. I didn't realize this was the hoodie that I wore the last day of the Open when I was just catching a pile of 2-pounders and then like bear hugging them to get the hook out. And the hoodie absolutely reeks. And it's been in my closet too, so that'll be interesting during the show. But about a week ago, Dylan Nutt was on Dave Mercer. Mercer did a fantastic job and interview a little bit, kind of behind the scenes and things about how Dylan Nutt became, I think, the third youngest winner of the Bassmaster Classic, first Bassmaster Classic winner since Brian Kirchhoff in 1994. It was interesting. He said, I thought that was cool that someone tossed him one of Kirchhoff's historic fish whistles as he was going around the arena. So that was with him, kind of reminiscent of what Polinick did back when he was in 2011 battling KVD in the Bassmaster Classic in Louisiana, and Polinick was on the stage for the fish with the fish whistle talking about it. And then I got into, I actually talked to Mercer on the phone for 2.5 hours yesterday. He was on his way down to Mississippi for the juggernaut Tennessee Tom Bigby Waterway tournament that they're about to have, where everyone's catching them off old satellite dishes and TVs and getting stuck and having to get pulled out of there. Anyway, part of the conversation that we had revolved around like how generations like move through, because clearly, I mean, we're about to have Dylan Nutt on. He's 22 years old. We've seen what Trey McKinney has done on the Elite Series. Bank Shaw over on the BPT, he just won again. We've had Drew Gill sitting here. I mean, there's definitely a generation change. You can go back and say the same thing about the Josh Bertrands and the Justin Lucas and the DCs and the Wheelers before that. And then before that, it was the Skeets and the Kevins and the Edwins and the Timmy Hortons. But it was cool that in this sport that like we've seen like that generation of the 90s of the Kirchhoff, and then the next generation of Polinick, who now is the most senior in the Bassmaster Classic. But in his first Classic, he had the fish whistle when he made it through the nation, and now Dylan Nutt there. So Brian Kirchhoff being remembered for that. So I'm sure he's probably got 75 interviews lined up today. He's done with Wheeler Lake. He's in the top 10 in the Angler of the Year standings over on the MLF Pro Circuit. He's in the Bassmaster Elite Series in 2027. I think they should have just let him fish the rest of the 26th season and seen if he could make up the points from the first two that he missed. But he is the 2026 Bassmaster Classic champion, Dylan Nutt, and he is on Bass Talk Live. Thank you for jumping on, Dylan. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Matt.
I got to start things off. All right, the bigs only hat. We see you wear it. We see your brother here. We see Bank Shaw wear it. I was walking around. I was doing a bunch of stuff at the Bassmaster Classic Expo. There are a bunch of guys your age, high school, college kids that I saw wearing it, you know, walking a little bit taller, looking around because you were dropping mega sacks there, and they had that bigs only hat on. Walk me through that hat. What is that brand? What is it? And why is everybody who's winning all of a sudden wearing that freaking hat?
So some of our good buddies from high school, they come up with this brand, Bigs Only. And it's pretty cool. They're actually located up there in Knoxville. But they came up with this brand. It's kind of just like a, you know, just an everyday wear kind of brand where it's the Bigs Only. It's specialized for fishermen, you know, and, you know, whatever you're looking for, you always want those bigs only. So I think it's just a super cool logo. It's got the hooks on there, but there's some great people over there, and we love supporting them. We love supporting the it's kind of with the youth movement as well. There's a lot of the younger guys wearing them, and man, it's pretty badass. You guys check them out. bigsonly.com.
So it's not like a mega giant conglomeration corporation. It's like, how old are the guys who started this?
Man, I think they're fishing over at Carson Newman now. I think
okay, so you're talking young 20s, just like you guys.
Yep, 19 or 20.
And you got people handing you drinks now that you're the classic champ. That's pretty baller.
Yeah, I got my girlfriend to bring me some coffee.
There you go. And then they're also buddies with Banks, who's not a bad guy to be wearing that hat either.
We're roommates with him. We actually were on the same high school fishing team with Banks, and we dominated in high school on the Sail Creek side. But we joined his team our senior season, and we left Backwoods Bassin, which was a team we helped start with one of our good buddies, Nathan Reynolds. He came to us in 8th grade and was like, let's go. Let's do this high school fishing thing. So we started a team there in Nashville, but eventually outgrew it. But yeah.
I was listening to the Mercer, and if you haven't, a lot of the backstory, a lot of the stuff, Mercer does a great job. I want to talk a lot about like fishing stuff, because you said some stuff during Mercer's interview that, like, I'm a big wormhole guy. I don't know if you know what BTL is. We do a show every day. I usually end up not talking about what I planned on talking about at all. So I'm kind of excited to go down some paths here and actually learn. But one of the things that I thought was interesting that you said on Mercer was how influential high school fishing was to your development, more so even than collegiate fishing. But that high school fishing, and I had just gone on a rant a couple weeks ago where I said, you guys wanted this. This is what you asked for. You wanted a junior, a high school, a college, a developmental league, to where when guys get to the Elite Series, when they get to the top level, they don't get their teeth kicked in. I said, and it took 15 years. I said, and here it is. You got it. You developed them, and now they're taking the spots. I mean, that influential, that good at developing great anglers, Dylan, the high school fishing.
Yeah, absolutely. The high school, I mean, it just gets you in that rhythm of fishing tournaments a lot at a young age. And, you kind of, you can't just, fishing's one of those things where that's what you hear a lot nowadays is the older guys talking about, they're just started fishing 4 or 5 years ago. They don't have any experience. This old veteran pro's got 25 years of experience under his belt. And I mean, once you go through if you fish the junior, you could fish 3 or 4 years as a junior angler. High school, you can fish 4 or 5 years as a high school angler. And then college, I mean, you got another 4 or 5 years. So once you get through all those programs, I mean, you're not a veteran angler, but you've been around. You've fished a lot of tournaments, and you got a lot of competition in on.
You got a decade of high-level tournament, multi-day experience with large boats and fields on ponds that you're not necessarily used to because you're going where the schedule going, which are the 3 factors: the travel, the fish management, and the new lakes are the 3 things that so many guys who qualified through the opens in one division then have never been outside their area, have never fished multi-day tournaments, and have never learn new pods.
Yep. Hang on, I got to pause you for 1 second. I just got a low battery alert. Let me plug
at it. No problem. Go plug it in. While Dylan is doing the low battery alert, I would like to let everybody know that as of this morning, big shout out to ATS Printing for getting the job done. The annual for the 4th year in a row, the Bass Talk Live supports St. Jude fundraiser t-shirts are now live. Link in the description, in the bio. We went a little bit different than we have for the past 3 years. We did 3 different colors. I personally really enjoy this color right here, but it is the BTL to St. Jude Bass Fishing Saves Lives tee. Guys, over the past 3 years, just with this t-shirt, we have raised over $11,000 for St. Jude. ATS Printing doing such a great job when it comes to giving the t-shirts at cost, $29.95. 100% of those profits from that shirt go to support St. Jude. The Dick Hiley St. Jude Bass Classic raised over $9 million in its 26 years since. So these are only available for 2 weeks, a week and a half, basically through Easter, through April 4th. You order everything, then ATS does a printing run, and then mails them to you. So I said, I think we hit almost $5,000 just in BTL support St. Jude t-shirts last year. So go ahead and get your t-shirt there. That was actually really good timing, Dylan, because I
Awesome.
totally forgot to mention that website went live today. They built that and donated for it. That's a cool tournament. It's it's the beginning of May, the first week of May, on the Mississippi River out of Wabasha, and you never know, like sometimes it's one on frogging largemouth, sometimes it's one on spawning smallmouth, sometimes it's one scoping in the lake. It's just like, it's a badass time of the year up there on the Mississippi.
Yeah, man, Mississippi's so much fun. I got to experience that this year, and that place is full of them.
Yeah. Okay. Back to the junior, the high school. We're talking about that quality. What percentage of anglers in the high school would you say are serious about it? What percent are just wanting to be a part of a club organization? And what percent didn't even know what they're signing up for and like, don't like it at all?
I would say probably 25% are like really serious anglers. Mm-hmm. Those are your guys that like, you know, they got the same dreams and aspirations as a lot of the professional guys now. They're, you know, they just want to go bass fishing. And then you probably got a 50% that, you know, they just kind of want to be a part of the team and they want to go, you know, they're just kind of out there to have fun. You know, they're not necessarily very serious, but, you know, they still can win tournaments and catch fish. And then you got your 25% where it's like, my dad wanted me to do this and he hired me all these guides and you know, I really have no idea what I'm doing, but this guide told me to go fish this point, so I'm going to go sit there all day.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of the breakdown, I feel like.
Your brother, the Banks, the Drew Gills, that type of guys, though, talk about in high school, when you're cutting your teeth, when you're learning, how much time are you dedicating to it? How much time are you thinking about it? How much time did you spend on the water over the past 4 or 5 years? Just think like 16 to 22. Is it like a stick and ball sport where you were intentionally practicing fishing, where you were learning systems and things? It's not just you just weren't just getting out there on the water and just seeing what happened, were you? I mean, this was an intentional learning curve for you.
Absolutely. So Carter and I and Banks, we're probably a little bit different than a lot of the high school anglers because we were really serious about it, you know, freshman year of high school. That's really whenever everything started to click. You know, we were, especially Carter and I, we were really big anglers, you know, growing up, but we never had a boat to go out there and go fish or anything, or like get experience on an actual big body of water. We would just fish ponds and sneak into golf courses at night and, you know, just kind of do.
Did you ever get caught?
We never did, but there was one time we were fishing. It's actually the Gaylord Opryland golf course there in Nashville.
Oh, that's like right there.
Yeah, that's a big one. They're pretty serious about their security, but me and Carter and Nathan and our buddy Copeland, we would go and sneak into there.
What was the strategy? Like,
I mean, like security guards. So there was one way to get in. It was a winding road that kind of went up this little cliff, and we would wait for the security guards to pull out, and then we would jump the fence and run down the hill. And but there was one night we were down there, and there was some hood rat kids that were like spray painting and stuff. So we were like hiding on the dunes and watched them get arrested and all that stuff.
You were like hiding
by the lake. Yeah, we had our fishing rods. We were just laying down behind the dunes, but we did that a lot. You know, that was our thing, was
like Google Earth the ponds, or would you you'd Google Earth them and then you'd go and figure out,
go check them out, or like hear from some of our buddies that they're catching big ones in this one pond. And the golf courses was the sneak because there was a lot of them that were stocked. But we fished from the bank and I'd fish on the banks of the Cumberland River a lot growing up. But once we got a boat, you know, once the whole idea of fishing became something that we were like, this is kind of what I want to do.
Do you remember the first time? Like, do you remember the time where you went, this is what I want to do? Was there a specific moment that it hit you?
Oh, I mean, this was when I was like 6 or 7 years old.
Okay.
On our family farm in Scottsboro, Alabama, right there on Gunnersville.
Yeah.
But we got a pond there, And I would get out there. We got a little John boat, and I would paddle around, and I would pretend like I was in tournaments with like Kevin Van Dam, and I was like, man, if he came to this pond, like I would kick his butt because this is my home water right here.
Yeah,
like I know every tree in this pond. I know where the big ones are in here, and just dreams like that, man. It was super cool. But after moments like that, I just I was so into it. And started doing high school fishing, and heck, my dad. So we were looking at this old. I think it was like a 1985 Tracker, small boat, and the motor. I don't even know if it was in running shape or not. But we were about to go look at it, and my dad, he worked in Louisville at the time, so he was driving back and forth between Nashville and Louisville.
Holy cow, that's a drive, isn't it?
Yeah, he was doing it. He was doing it every week, and he one day showed up with a Procraft hooked up to his minivan. So
nice.
that was the moment where we were like, oh my goodness, we got a boat now. We're like,
and how old were you and your brother at the time then?
We were in 8th grade. So
did you guys probably just went nuts? Like, I mean,
oh my goodness, yeah. I mean, we went crazy. We were like, we got to go put this thing in the water, and the first tournament we fished, I actually didn't fish with Carter that year. I fished with my buddy Nathan. So Carter fished out of that boat, and we had one talon on the boat. We ended up we saved up and put a 12-foot talon on there, and he forgot to pick it up. So as he was trying to put it on the trailer, he couldn't figure out why the boat was lifting up in the back the whole time, and he freaking tried to put it on the trailer and noticed once it started pulling up the ramp, the talon was extended 3/4 of the way down, just dragging up the ramp. But we were super green with everything. Didn't know you had to plug the boat in. We didn't come from a fishing family, so it wasn't a, it was a hobby thing for our family. It wasn't like a sport thing or nobody really tournament fished. Mm-hmm. So it was everything. We were pretty much learning on our own and learning off of YouTube. Believe it or not, I learned a lot from the series you did, like with AFCO and really? All that. That was one of my favorite series to watch growing up was your AFCO series with the Bassmaster Opens.
That was back when I used to catch them, Dylan.
Oh, I loved watching your videos.
I brought it back. I'm bringing him back as a 41-year-old. I feel a little self-conscious talking to the old Osmo 5 at 41 years old, but I'm bringing it back. It's what the people want. So,
yeah.
So who else then? This is such a great story. This is everything. So like that the industry, and I say the industry, and I'm sure you hear about the industry a lot and you're like, whatever, but this is everything that the industry has talked about and the organization has talked about. Grassroots elements, junior fishing, it bringing everything in and then doing it and winning it. I had Charlie Hartley on the show a couple days ago, and he went nuts, and he never goes nuts. And he goes, Matt, I hear that this young man is taking some shit online because he practiced for 30 days before the tournament, and they're saying that it shouldn't count. And now, if you know your history, you know where the Classic is going next year, that in 2008, Charlie Hartley led day one of the Bassmaster Classic. And he knew it was his only shot. And he goes, let me tell you something. He goes, back in 2008, he goes, before Hartwell went off limits, he said, I rented a place down there and I practiced 41 straight days as a 45-year-old man on Lake Hartwell before it went off limits. He said, because it was the Bassmaster Classic and I knew it was my one shot. He goes, and no one said a damn thing to me then. Yeah. He was very impressed with the work ethic. Where did the work ethic came in? Do you feel like it's a work ethic, or is it one of those things where you hear the elite athletes say, like, I'm not putting you in the air, the same breath as like Wayne Gretzky or Michael Jordan, but you hear like Walter Gretzky tell stories about how Wayne would be on the ice in the backyard for 12 to 15 hours a day, and they had to beg him to come in. Like it wasn't like he felt like he was working or putting in the work. Is it the same for you? Do you have to force yourself to be out there, or is this work ethic just something that you want to do that just seems natural to you?
It seems so natural. I mean, I'm a diehard fisherman, so going up to a lake like that, and practicing as long as I did, man, it just, and like what you were saying with Charlie, I mean, it was like, man, this is my one chance. Like if I were to go and, if I get super blessed and end up winning this thing, all my dreams in life would come true. I'd be a Bassmaster Classic champion. I'd be on the Elite Series and just all these dreams and aspirations. I was like, man, if I go up there and I just wing it, I'm going to feel like it would be one of my biggest regrets in life, not feeling like I put in 100%. And, I went up there, I had a blast staying as long as I did. One of my buddies lives up there and I got to hang out with a lot of my old friends, and man, it was just the whole experience of it, from the practice to the tournament. It just, man, I'm never going to forget it.
Yeah. It sounds like you've got like some healthy competition, like you had some healthy competition there, like with Tripp and with Easton, like you guys were, the way I kind of get it based on some of the stories I've said, it was like, I ain't going to let that guy beat me this week. Like, he thinks he's going to beat me. That ain't going to happen. And Easton's going to already won one of these things. Like, come and get it, Dylan. And then Tripp's like, y'all are totally forgetting about, well, no, it would be like, y'all are totally forgetting about me back here in the end. But I mean, is that kind of how you felt on it too? Like it almost seemed like it was like the buddy thing where you don't want to get beat by your buddies more so than you want to like win the Bassmaster Classic.
No, absolutely. But like I felt like that was my biggest competition was somebody like Tripp or Easton, because they put in as much time as I did, and it was funny up there in pre-practice. Tripp was fishing, pretty much. He was up there pretty much the same time as I was, and he'd be like, "Did you catch him?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I caught the crap out of him." And I'd be like, "Did you?" And he's like, "No, man, I struggled. I had like 15 pounds." I was like, "Dude, well, you better get on something because I'm going to catch him." And, we kept going back and forth. He was telling me how much he was going to beat me. And I was like, "Oh, you just get ready, buddy. You don't even know what's coming."
Yeah, I had before JT Tompkins had made it, I remember one time we were at the boat ramp at Thousand Islands, and I'd had like a day, like I'd had like 24 and a half. Like I was pretty excited. I saw him and we were the only two. I said, "You catch him?" And he did that classic, "Yeah." And I said, "Good." And he goes, "I had 29 and a half," and then just continued walking. And I was like, crap, like it messes with you, but in a good way. All right. So you've talked about the practice. I think that's there. Here's what I want to walk through. I fish. I go pre-practice. There's a bunch of guys who pre-practice, maybe not for 30 days straight, but what I want to walk through is what you do or what you did during those 30 days to be productive, because fishing is one of those things where like you can show up and be on the water, and if you're not being productive, if you're not doing the right thing, you're not learning anything, and you're probably even worse off than you were before. So do you mind kind of walking through the process with which you broke the water down over those 30 days, knowing that the Classic was still months out, to where you were that confident that you were going to be able to make contact with that same caliber of fish in March? Yeah.
So a lot of my confidence for that body of water came from fishing Pickwick. I was talking with a lot of the Bassmaster guys, and they were saying, like, I was getting interviewed and they're like, "So is this place like Pickwick?" And I was like, "It's pretty much an unpressured Pickwick. Like, this is identical to what I would be doing, back home in Florence." And for some reason, pretty much all the other guys didn't think it was anything like Pickwick. And I think that's kind of where I had the advantage was, I kind of knew based off my fishing on Pickwick, like what I would be doing a certain time of the year. And then they set up a little bit differently come the springtime. And so having that, mindset of, hey, I know where they're going to be right now, after this time I spent on the water, and I know exactly where they're going to be come March. So I kind of started to look towards the future and started looking for areas where they would be, sitting out front of a spawning bay or something, just areas where they'd be staging up. And it was actually pretty cool. A lot of the same places that I was catching them back in November and December, they were still there come the Classic. So that was cool in practice. My first day of practice, I ran some of the places where I had been catching them in pre-practice.
Like went straight to the best. Like you put your boat in and we're like, "Oh my God, I'm going to go. Please still be here." Then you drop the trolling motor and you're like, "Oh my God, they're still here." And you knew that it was game on.
Oh yeah. That first day of practice, I would pull up to an area where I'd caught a lot of them in pre-practice, or like where I'd caught some big ones. And I would, see some fish, and I would just pull my bait away from them. I didn't want to pressure them or anything. And at least for me, there was a lot of other guys in some of those areas. But man, that first day of practice, I caught well over 50 bass. I went into one area that I had just scanned around in pre-practice where I was like, oh, this stuff's probably going to be pretty good. But I never even fished it. I just knew it set up right, and I went through this one little bay, dude, and I had 25 pounds that first day of practice for the Classic, and I was like, man, this is special. And, I ended up going in that area the second day of the tournament. I fished it all 3 days.
Did you let Tripp and Easton know, though, that, like, it was going to, like, after that first day of practice, did you make sure you let them know that it was going to go down and that they better bring their A game if they even want to have any shot to stay in contact?
I did, absolutely. And seeing people at the boat ramp, I tried my best to keep my mouth quiet so that I didn't have a lot of eyes on me. But, I remember Logan Parks asked me at the ramp, he was like, what'd you have yesterday? And I was like, a little over 25. And, he told me he did pretty good. And I was like, what'd you have? And he was like, oh, I had like 15 and a half. And that moment, dude, I was just like, it's just special when you're like, someone thinks they're doing good, having like, 15 to 18 pounds. And I'm like, yeah, I had 25. Like,
you're looking at it as gamesmanship. You're not looking, I'm sure you've heard the kid's cocky. I don't get a cocky vibe from you at all. I talked with that about Mercer too. I was like, I think it's good what you have. And it's shocking that in such a manly fishing sport, we have a tendency to be so damn sensitive when it comes to, he's saying he's catching them. He's like, but we've been begging for a little bit of genuine smack talk back and forth. But I don't sense any, let me say this, I don't sense any disrespect. If anything, I feel like you have a very mature respect for the sport and the people who play it.
Absolutely, man. I mean, I have the utmost respect for everybody in the industry and everybody at the top level, and even the lower levels, man. There's so many great anglers, but I mean, if you don't try to get in their head and try to get a little advantage, I mean,
that's vintage Kevin. Okay, let me ask you this then: did you watch the live coverage from when Ott won in 19 and when Gussie won in 2023, and go back and look at those archives? Where, I mean, it was an absolute grind in both of those tournaments. You have the local winning in one, and then in the next one where it doesn't even take that much weight. Did you watch that and go, these guys aren't even where the fish are?
Yeah, I did. I mean, after my pre-practice, so I didn't watch any coverage or anything.
Oh, so you didn't?
Up there. Not before I went up there. I mean, I watched it whenever it happened.
Okay.
So, like, I kind of had an idea of what was going on then, and after I went out there, I think the first, so I went up for a week and a half, and I'd caught quite a few fish. I think the last day I was there, I had like 21 pounds of all smallmouth. And I was really fired up about it. And then I started watching some of the footage, like on my drive back, and they're talking, they're like, oh, this changing it to a 15-inch limit's going to really affect it big time on the smallmouth. And I was like, man, a 15-inch smallmouth doesn't even weigh 2 pounds. I was like, that's not gonna really affect anything. And that first time I went back, I went for another 2.5 weeks, and the first day I went out there, I had 23 pounds, and I was like, man, this place is just unbelievable. I mean, it's really an unpressured Pickwick. You go out there, Pickwick, you used to be able to go out there and, like 3 or 4 years ago and catch literally 50 bass, and they're all over 3 pounds. And now you get lucky if you have 10 bites in a day. But I was going out there catching, and I was catching over 50 bass pretty much every single day. That the last day of the tournament was the one day that I kind of struggled, but I think I only caught like 20 or 25 bass that day. But other than that, pretty much every day I was up there, I was catching well over 50 fish and just having a ball.
I'm laughing because you always talk about how easy Pickwick was and all that. I always run to Bay Springs and catch spotted bass because I hate fishing the ledges on Pickwick.
Yeah, it's a lot different now. But.
Yeah. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about baits, a little bit about the future. But a lot of guys getting called out for saying that, oh, yeah, well, you were the easy pick. I would let the record show. Just let me have this moment of glory here, Dylan. I am going to throw up from before the Classic. I did a pre-classic pick with Dave Rush, and I'm just gonna run the clip, and then we'll go to break just to share. So I have to I gotta share the entire screen with audio, because the audio is the key part here. Let's see if it pops up. All right, there it is. Let's see if we can hear it. You got it. I got Dylan Nutt winning it. I got Trey McKinney in second. And I got Fisher Naya in third. Now Fisher screwed me. You should have finished
you're
third.
Going straight scoping, super scopers.
I'm going 1,
Top
2, 3, super scopers, top 3, all dialed in on the same thing. Comes down to the last day, 20 pounds a day. There you go. That was the classic preview. I called 1 and 2.
That's pretty cool.
Now I wasn't expecting the 26-11. That kind of skewered the 20 pounds a day thing for me. But my 3 baits were, which I'm not going to go on here. You can get on there. Minnow, in order. Minnow, Nico, Urchin. And you snuck in a couple key fish on an Urchin there, but we'll let that slide. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about Minnowgate. A little bit about Minnowgate. You kind of ruined a giant release from Berkeley by winning the biggest trophy in the sport a week before everyone else was supposed to know about it. I'm interested in getting your thoughts on that, because that was pretty wild. Because you're a pure fishing guy, you went on a pure fishing minnow, and then you can't really talk about it immediately. But it is Wednesday, March 25th. Link in bio for the St. Jude BTL Bass Fishing Saves Lives t-shirt. 100% of the profits on that go to St. Jude you can order it through April 4th. We'll be back with 2026 Bassmaster Classic Champion. He's been able to say that for almost 2 weeks now. Dylan Nutt will be back after this.
The new Puma STS has been redesigned from the ground up. With the angler, design, function, and performance in mind, nothing on this new offering was compromised, and the only thing carried over from the previous version is the name. Based on the Soft Touch series hull that started with the flagship Jaguar, this new model is nimble and performs incredibly well at all speeds with either a 250 or 300 horsepower engine. Featuring a new 96-inch wide-body footprint, this hull measures out at 20 foot 7 inches in length. Industry-leading design coupled with tournament-winning performance. The Puma STS from Basscat. Feel the rush.
Pro Bass Adventures is reinventing Mexico bass fishing. With boats equipped with 12-inch Garmin units and LiveScope Plus, free loaner fishing rods, and no-cost airport transportation, Pro Bass Adventures is proudly putting you in the best position for success. Pro Bass Adventures has lodges on Lake Baccarat and Lake El Salto, Mexico's 2 best trophy largemouth bass lakes. Visit probassadventures.com or email probassadventures@gmail.com. The official Mexico fishing lodge of Bass Talk Live. All right, welcome back, BTL, on a Wednesday with the Classic Champ, Dylan Nutt. How many podcasts have you just done? Mercer, or have you done anyone else yet?
I've done a lot of radio shows, but Mercer's been the only actual podcast that I've done.
Yeah.
I figured I would give him the exclusive for the first week, and
absolutely, he had you on before too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's already gotten me twice.
That was a good go back and listen to the Mercer show. It's fantastic. All right, let's get into this bait thing. So since the beginning of time, the Holy Grail is a bait company who has a prototype bait, and then they give it to their guys that they pay, and they go in the Bassmaster Classic, and then they win the Bassmaster Classic with it, and then they get up, and then everyone in the world immediately knows about it, and they say that's why we pay you, is for the bait, and that's how professional bass fishing works. However, you win on a bait that the way I understand it loosely is that Berkeley has been working for a very long time. Not a sponsor of the show, obviously. I have competitive sponsors, but I don't give a damn. You won on the bait, we're going to talk about the bait.
Yep.
They have spent a lot of money into marketing this entire line, this Berkeley Labs thing. They had a release date for it. They had it in the hands of some of their pros for it. And literally it was one of those things where no one at Berkeley had gone, so what if one of the guys wins the classic on this thing and then you win it on it and there's a bunch of chaos going around. You're telling Mark Zona, hey, quit asking questions, Mark. Why don't you just see, you know what I mean? It's a bait. Just talk about behind the scenes, what went down, how the whole bait thing came about with the Berkeley Labs thing and where we stand today, because I think this is a cool story that we'll be talking about for years to come.
Yeah. So I joined the Berkeley team late last year and got my hands on a few of the prototypes and started fishing with them and gaining some confidence, but I never got enough of them, you know, to really go out there and like that be the only thing I threw, right? So I still would mix in some of my old staples and whatnot, and it was pretty cool. We had a meeting with a lot of the younger scoper guys with Berkeley, and they were talking, you know, about like release dates and all that, and then they had mentioned they're like, well, like, you know, if one of you guys were to go and win the classic on them, then we would have to release it then. And, you know, I was actually out there practicing on Fort Loudon during that meeting.
With earbuds.
Yeah. I was with earbuds, and then my phone ended up dying like 3/4 of the way.
But you're sitting there listening to it going, well, yeah, I'm going to win the classic on it, so I need to know what to do here.
Yeah, I'm sitting over there reeling in 4-pounders, showing it to him, and Emil Wagner was on the call, and I was like, where you at, buddy? You got to be out here practicing. And but that was just – it's super cool to be part of something so exclusive at the time, and I kind of hate that I let the cat out of the bag. But
so how did it go down? How'd the whole thing go down? Like during the classic, like what was your talks with Berkeley on it? What was your talks? I mean, like there were some awkward moments there.
Yeah. So I was throwing it a lot the first 2 days of the tournament, and I weighed most of my fish on it, and I was telling the Berkeley guys, and I was like, look, like this thing's gonna, you know, I'm gonna have to say something about it at some point. And I think it was after day 2 of the tournament. They were telling me still to be quiet about it and not really to reveal too much. And Zona called me that night and was like, man, what are you catching them on? And I was like, throwing a jig head minnow. And he was like, well, what minnow is it? And I was like, well, I can't tell you. And you know, he got a little fired up and was like, you know, he was like, you got to tell me what you're throwing. He was like, if you want to handle it your own way, then I'll just let you do that. And I was like, yeah, I'll probably just handle it on my own for this one. And he's like, well, I hope you know this is the first classic. I don't know exactly what the winner's throwing it on and catching them and this and that. And I was like, yeah, well, that's how it's going to be, I guess. And
like you got him, like he was legit fired up.
Yeah, he was legit fired up. You know, since
you better
now,
check to make sure that's not Berkeley texting
I would like
you right now.
No, that's my family group chat.
Okay, good.
They go crazy in there, but they
did that not? I mean, dude, you're a student of the sport. You're a student of the sport. That didn't rattle you having Mark Zona the day before the final day of the classic call you and going, "I hope you know what you're doing, bud."
No, not at all, man. I was
you got nerves of steel.
After that, I called Brad, the guy I work with at Berkeley, and I was like, Zona's pretty fired up that I won't tell him. And he was like, well, you can reveal a little bit more tomorrow. And I think that was the first or second bass I caught. It was actually the first bass I caught. It was on my second cast that third morning. Catch like a 2.6. Pulled it out of his mouth, held it up to the camera. I said, that one's for you, Zona. Berkeley Lab Series. Check it out. And I think that kind of just brought it all back, and where it was still like, even for Zona, it was like, man, what is he throwing? And it was just like a big secret that built up. And then, you know, I showed it a lot that final day of the tournament. But
have you talked to him since then? Like, have you had like a call with him after you were like, hey man, listen, I was like between a rock and a hard place. Like, I got my sponsor that's brand new that's telling me not to say it. Then I got you, I've been watching, he's telling me I need to. And then I'm also in the final day of the Bassmaster Classic.
Yeah, so that after the third day, he texted me at one point and was like, man, you handled it so good. Like, I loved what you did, and I thought that was pretty cool. Where he was like, yeah, like we had our moment, but you really did good, and I was like, yeah, told you I was gonna handle it good on my own. But
all right, what could you show? Tell us more about it now. I know that there's been a number of guys that have had it out. First of all, very sleek packaging.
Oh yeah, I think it looks great on the shelves. And they did really good with these shelves for them. Unlike many other minnows on the market, a lot of people have started to adapt this shell, but a lot of them still don't. And what that leads to is your baits will get a little crooked, especially if it's hot outside. You know, that plastic's kind of gonna form to a certain way. Like if it's hanging sideways in the package a little bit, then that tail's going to be real crooked, and you just don't get the action that you desire out of it. But the packaging's wonderful. You know, they got it in there, and that's some of their secret sauce on top of it. But man, this little deal right here is legit. I mean, they bite it. It's got a great profile, and it doesn't have any of those wings on it. You know, a lot of companies are just throwing wings on baits like, oh, this is the secret. You got to have a wing on it. That's proof that you do not need to go out and try to copy a bait and get wings on it. You know, minnows is one of the few things on the market where it's kind of hard to have your own, you know, spin on it. But this one, I feel like there's not really any other on the market that are exactly like it. They really come out with a whole new shape, and you know, the science behind it. That's what makes this bait shine. And you know, they're starting to release a lot about the science behind it. But man, this bait it's really special. I mean, it's a fish catcher, and it won me the Bassmaster Classic. So I'm sure.
Is it Maxen or is it the brand new stuff?
So I'm not quite sure what I can talk about, so I'm just gonna
talk in generals. Then I would hate to have another call head your way.
I'll just tell you about it. I think I've seen some videos where they kind of already released it. Yeah. So sorry, Brad, if this is stepping over the boundary, but so the top part is like a max scent.
Okay.
And then the bottom part's more like your power bait.
Gotcha.
What it does in the water.
And I saw they posted where it like emanates out, and they showed it sitting in there where it's floating. Because there's also like a drop shot worm and then a max set flatworm. God knows how much a pack of those flatworms are going to be. The regular ones are already up to like 9. Berkeley sitting there and they're going, well, they paid 5 for them. Let's see if they'll pay 7. By God, they paid 7 for the flatworms. Let's see if they'll go with 8. Oh, we're still selling them at 8. Let's go to 9. Let's make a hand poured one now. They're that good. Yeah.
So it's super cool about this bait is as you're working, like as soon as you put one on, and this is where I noticed it during the Classic, is as soon as I would put one on, I would get a couple bites on it real quick, and then it would kind of like be, you know, I'd still catch some on it, but it wasn't like an immediate deal. And what I relate that to is the slime coat that comes off this bait. There's a lot of pictures you can go back and see, like when I'm casting a bait, like especially after I just put it on, there's like a little trail behind it of that slime. But it does some damage, man. And that they put the scent into it, and it's got a great profile. They got a little air pocket in there that kind of helps the rolling action of it. But man, that's a special bait.
I think I'm trying to think of like Berkeley. Was Jay Yellis a Berkeley jig, I think, when he won the Classic, and they came out with the Jay Yellis Berkeley jig after that. The Classic baits are cool. Unfortunately, when they went from the summertime to the wintertime, they're not as sexy in February and March as they typically are like in the summer, because you're typically doing like some smaller, less vibration stuff. Jig head, I know you mentioned this on Mercer, but you didn't really dive into it. Wes Hamilton says, I don't care about the minnow, ask about the jig head. Those suckers stayed pinned. So tell us about the jig head.
I ain't got a whole lot to say about it. It's
Are you coming out with the signature series Dylan Nutt jig head that you're working on now, and you don't want to give away all the goods on it?
I don't know. That would be super cool if I did, but it's it's something that me and a lot of my buddies have been doing for a couple years now, and there's a reason I was boat flipping 4-pounders with it. I got a lot of confidence in that hook and everything that goes into it. It's a sleek little deal.
Fair enough. I would imagine if you'd like to learn more about that jig head, you're probably going to have to go back and screenshot Bassmaster Classic live photos and then blow it up and then try to locate exactly what and where it is. And I think that's all the details we'll get on that. Fair enough.
Yeah, got to keep some things a secret. I mean, I got a tournament this week on Pickwick, and I'm going to have to keep some things in my back pocket.
All right. Rod-wise, I thought it was interesting. You said it was that Abu Garcia Fantasista. How old were you in 2013, Dylan?
I think I was 10 years old.
I was running the Berkeley Pro Staff then, and this is a medium light, the spinning rod from the original Fantasista Regista that they brought over, the JDM version. I didn't even know they were still making them. That's the same one you were throwing then, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's I actually have a couple old Fantasistas from around that time. I was a huge tackle junkie when I was young. I spent a lot of my money in Scottsboro Tackle Company. That's where
the one that's there in like the little town circle thing where it's right there on the corner. Yeah.
Yep. That's a great place. Tim and Andrew have always been such great people. And, I mean, we were going in there whenever they first opened up. I think we were like 7 or 8.
Do you wish they let you fish the Elite Series for the last 6 events and just skip the first 2 and see if you can make it up?
No. I'd feel bad for them if I beat them. That would they got to at least have a year. No, I'm just kidding. I'd need some time. I need some time to prepare, get all my tackle dialed in, and clean up some organization and whatnot, and just kind of get settled in and ready to compete at that next level.
You basically you're fishing the pro circuit. I'm going to just go out on a limb here and say that there's a fairly decent chance that both you and your brother will qualify for the BPT this upcoming year. You said on Mercer that I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you seem pretty confident in the fact, like it seemed like it was 100% that you'll be on the Bassmaster Elite Series in 2027. Is that going to change? Is there any chance that would change if, like, let's say you and Carter both qualified for the BPT?
Man, the Elite Series is my dream. That's the Bassmaster is the dream for every young angler. I love fishing with MLF, and it would be a really hard decision to part ways with all those people over there. And I mean, it's like a brotherhood over there. But man, it would be a tough decision for me. But if I could do both, that would be super awesome. But I got to go for the Elite Series.
Sponsorship wise, has the phone been ringing off the hook? I know you have Berkeley, you have Abu, you got the Bigs Only. Really cool article there that like shows how much you've been on the water. I read somewhere where you put in like 5 months, you've put 180 or 200 hours on your Yamaha.
Yeah, I've put over 200 on my Yamaha. But I mean, man, that's what we're used to. I mean, me and Carter, in high school, we had a 254 stroke. It was we got it in 2020, and by 2023, actually, I guess it was 2022, we blew it up with almost 1,500 hours on it. And
that's a lot of hours on a motor.
Yeah, we were really big into idling around and scanning a bunch, and that's what we would spend most of our practice days doing back in high school, was just scanning around. And
who taught you how to do that? Like, who taught you how to productively scan? I guess is my saying, because like I'm 41 and I'll scan, and if I don't see anything in half an hour, I'm like, maybe my side imaging is broken, and then I'll see something and I'll be like, oh no, it's still good.
Yeah, it's pretty much just I mean, it was experience. Learned a lot from YouTube, but there's really only so much that you can learn from that. You kind of put the time in yourself and learn what everything on the screen is. And Carter, my brother, he's a lot better at electronics than I am. He knows what he's doing with them, and especially in the settings and all that. I kind of just leave it up there and just don't change anything and just go out there and go fishing. And if it looks a little fuzzy, I'll call Carter and be like, man, what the heck's going on with this thing? And then, he'll give me some tips. But Carter is really good at idling and scanning around. And, kind of in high school, the way it started was Carter was big into the electronic side of things. And he never really got really big into fishing until like the tournament aspect of it came around for us. But I would always be the one on the trolling motor, and he would always be the one, behind the wheel scanning around. Okay. So it was kind of like a pretty cool aspect that we had, where it was like I would kind of ride passenger, and then we'd get on a group of fish, and I'm like, dude, get in the back of the boat. I'm going to get up here and catch these jokers. And yeah, it was super cool.
If Carter had gone to the Mississippi River and qualified in third, and not you, would he have won the Bassmaster Classic?
No, he ain't got nothing on me. No, I'm just
not. If you weren't in it and he was here, that you see what I'm saying? Like, let's say you flip it. Like, I mean, because we obviously know you guys are good at that. You win the Bassmaster Classic. You came out. You had that hug, that moment, kind of like Chris Lane in 2012 when Bobby Lane charged on stage and gave him the hug, the whole 9 yards. But like, if it had been him in the Classic, same conditions, would you have put your money on him versus the field?
Yeah, I would. I would have. He would have done the same thing I did. Went up there and practiced a bunch, and it might have been a little closer, but I don't know. He's a special angler as well. I mean, he's sitting second in the points on the
catching their ass
right behind Banks, and heck, I would be sitting right there around the somewhere in third through fifth, but the last day at Wheeler, stupidest thing I've ever done in my life. But, I was so kind of blown up with everything that had happened the last week. I didn't look at the rules as far as like length limit on fish. So I thought it was 15 inches across the board because smallmouth had to be 15. So I was like, surely it's largemouth or 15. And, man, that final day, I threw back like 5 or 6 keepers, only weighed in 3 fish.
No, you didn't.
The limit ended up being 12 inches on largemouth. And, I would have had another 3 to 4 pounds added to my total and finished a little bit higher. But you know what? Can't complain. Won the Bassmaster Classic the week prior, so I'm not going to beat myself up too bad about it. But that's one thing I'll be looking at a little bit more intensively in the future is what the length limit is on fish. Because
you did almost 100K. Oh, you did 100K combined last year in earnings between the two tours. You have a lot of people. I don't say a lot. I don't maybe give credit too much to the guys who are bitter. But I've heard, well, how can you afford to stay out there for 30 days? Like, are you a dude who's actually like, hey, like I won my money, I'm investing back into myself. Like you're spending money that it's not like, I mean, from what I've heard, it's not an endless stream of revenue. Like you're not out there like at the club just popping bottles and flashing hundreds all over. Like you're investing you win back into the game.
100%. And that's the way Carter and I have been our whole life. We were definitely blessed having supportive parents, but everything that we would spend, like all of our tournament winnings in high school. So going back to the whole forward facing sonar and live scope or video game kid thing. So it was our junior year of high school. We did not have live scope or active target or any of it. And we actually won the state championship on Lake Chickamauga and ended up winning state team of the year that season. So I think we won like $10,000 off of it. And, we put that all into rigging out our boat. We put electronics on it and ended up buying an active target with it. But it was cool because we were able to, start with what we had and ended up, having this fully rigged boat by the end of our senior season because we won quite a bit of money and invested all of it back into it. But, going up there for 30 days, I'm truly blessed to have such great friends because I stayed with my buddy Jackson Bennett. He let me stay at his mom's house, and she cooked for me pretty much the whole time I was up there. My only expense was gas for the most part, and I mean I would be spending money on gas if I stayed here on Pickwick. So, I mean, man, I was truly blessed all around, and I made the most of what I had.
Couple more questions that I'll let you go. So this is my mind kind of goes to like not like sexy questions, but like I was at the Classic Expo, and it seemed to me like I've been to every single Classic since 2008, Dylan. Every Expo too. Maybe one day by the time I'm 70, I'll get lucky for 3 days and be able to fish in one. That's the goal. Then I can quit fishing the opens. It seemed like there were a ton of 17 to 23-year-olds, and I mentioned this at the beginning of the show, more so than I've seen in the past. Do you feel you're in the middle of it? You are one of them. Do you feel a groundswell of 19 to 25-year-old anglers pushing into this sport?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Do you guys notice it? Do you guys talk about it? Do you guys say it? Like, it seems cool to be the fishing guys, like not just walking around going, "Oh, I'm here." Like, yeah, we're on the high school fishing team. What now? Like, guys, you've noticed that, you see it, you think that's coming, and that's going to continue to grow.
Oh, 100%. Especially the guys coming out of college. There's so many good college anglers, and I mean, people have heard Banks talk about it a lot, but like genuinely the competition in college is so much stronger than any other trail I'll ever fish in my life. I mean, those guys, not only do you have one of the best anglers in the world in the boat, but you got two of them. And man, they are so dang good. And a lot of those guys are starting to they kind of saw what Banks did, and then Carter and I kind of followed with them as far as like, instead of fishing college tournaments, fishing your Toyotas or your Nation Series or your Opens, pro circuits. And they're all starting to jump into those. And, a lot of the fields now are full of college anglers, and, there's going to be a lot more of them coming up through the ranks.
What has Bass done from an organizational support since you've won? If I could be critical with Bassmaster with anything, it's that they kind of hand you the trophy and then say, "Hey, have fun with this one."
Yeah.
Do you wish, have they done, maybe I'm just not seeing it, is there anything after the Classic where they're saying, okay, this is A, B, C, and D, here's what we recommend you do, here's a list of this, here's how it works, we've set up this interview for you, do you need help with any of this stuff, or is it kind of, here's your check and your trophy, figure it out, we'll see you at the first Elite next year?
So they've actually done a lot.
Sweet.
They've done a lot, which kind of surprised me. I think it's because I told them what I thought. So up at the Mississippi River, I was sitting in second going into the final day, and the winner of that tournament qualifies for the Elite Series. They get the whole nation deal.
It's Nick Trim.
And I never got a single photo taken of me on the water the whole time. Nothing afterwards. Like I had a couple interviews, but I was like, man, you guys kind of got to step it up. Like, I'm fishing a Toyota over here, and I'm not even in contention to win, and I've got 30 pictures of me from fishing one day on the water. And they were kind of lacking on that aspect, and I kind of told them what I thought, but man, Bassmaster stepped up a lot. They've been reaching out to me periodically about what they can do to help and all this different stuff. And I really like them, really like what they're doing. But MLF's definitely their family over there.
Yeah, they got it good. Jody White knows his stuff, doesn't he?
Jody's wonderful. Rob's a great cameraman too.
Yeah.
Hate to say it, but I think Jody's a little bit better.
Jody is probably the most talented. I'm going to say this, the most talented angler that makes his living in the media. I mean, he's won a Bassmaster Open. I fish with him a lot. A lot of the stuff that I've done, I literally went and jumped up in his boat, stayed at his alpaca farm for a week, and we fished a bunch of the lakes around there and cut my learning curve down by 5 years. Yeah.
He
knows what he's doing.
He's a really good angler, and he likes to snoop around, see what everybody's throwing.
Oh yeah, if you'll answer it, he'll ask the question. This is kind of along those lines. So every year I do a show that lists the top 10 live scopers. not a controversial show at all. It's just currently what's going right now, the top 10 guys.
Yeah.
It's me, Jody White, and this year we're bringing in Ben Milliken, and we're going to have the top 10. We're going to go across all platforms, college fishing all the way up to the BPT, the Bassmaster Classic, the Elite Series, or whatever. We're doing this in the next month once Ben gets settled in his new location. We get a week.
Yeah.
I just want your opinion, just in your mind, top 3 live scopers. This isn't one discipline or ever. This is just overall, just 3 guys that you don't want to mess with at all in any way, shape, or form when it comes with it. I just want your opinion on the top 3 in the world right now.
It's hard to put them in 3. Number 1 is Bank Shaw, 100%. He is the best in the world, live scope or not. Even without live scope, I'm putting my money on Banks. He's the best fisherman in the world. And then 2 and 3 is like really, really tricky for me to pick.
That's why I ask you, because it's really good. I think there's going to be like 2 on the list this year that were on the list last year. That's how much it's changed in a year.
I'm going to do top 5.
Okay. Yeah. More the merrier.
Top 5.
But you got to do it in order, Dylan.
A lot of these
guys,
guys,
out of the order.
A lot of these guys, I really don't know, their abilities. There's some Japanese anglers that I'm not going to put on here that probably should be on here. I mean, you got your Koyas. He's unbelievable. But I'm going to say your top 5 is going to be Bank Shaw. He's number 1.
Okay.
I think the rest of them, there's no places for them.
No, you can't get out of that. You got to give me places. You got to give me places. Because I'm just going to use this kind of as a guide, because we're going to go through it on our own. But then I'm going to say, hey, when I had Dylan on, this was his top 5, which may play into those rankings. And feel free to put yourself in that top 5. We had Alton Jones Jr. on last year. I think he put himself around 6 or 7. I think he'd be hard pressed to be on that list this upcoming year.
Yeah, I think Carter or me is going to be 2nd and 3rd.
You going you 2 and Carter 3, or Carter 2 and you 3?
I'm gonna say me 2nd, Carter 3rd, and then I'm gonna go. Dalton Head is gonna be number 4, and Brody Robinson's gonna be number 5. But 2 through 5 is interchangeable in any ways.
Okay, so you're going.
I think it's really just a 1st and then 2nd plus
Dalton Head, Brody Robinson, the Nutt brothers, and Bank Shaw. That's 5, and that includes the Wheelers, the Connells, the Drew Gills. That includes all those fellas.
Drew Gill's awesome too, man. All those guys are unbelievable.
I know we're sticking with that 5 because I love it. Because listen, those
guys.
I know. I ask you.
These guys are the best.
This is what we need. We need to know what's going on, because at one point, Jody White said, "Man, you got to keep your eye on the Nutt brothers. They're doing some wild stuff." And the same with Bank Shaw. And we're over there going, okay, who are we talking about here again? Like that. And then boom, like Banks goes 15 of 16 in the top 10s, literally has like an apology letter when he finishes 50th, and then freaking wins the next one again, which is kind of a boss move. He's literally had one bad tournament in his life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but those
Bank
two
Shaw,
guys,
Dylan
Brody
Nutt, Carter Nutt, Dalton Head, and Brody Robinson.
Yeah, those guys are unbelievable too. They will have a special place in the industry here in the next couple of years.
No Fisher and Naya in that top 5 either. I thought that was interesting.
Great too, man. I mean,
no Easton Fothergill in the top 5.
He's unbelievable too.
I know, man. I love it. That's why I love this show. The show for the top 10 is going to be an absolute savage broadcast this year, because there's about 25 guys right now, and it's all different skill. The one thing that I really have learned to appreciate is I kind of look at it as older guys who really kind of adopt the technology, not just becoming scopers, but adopting what the capabilities of that technology are, is kind of like changing your golf swing, right? You see like a PJ Tour guy, like I had the Dink and Dunk, the BMR squared, Bridges Marina rip wrap ramps, the whole 9 yards. I completely retool my game. I've been getting my ass kicked, may get my ass kicked forever, but I've enjoyed the process. I feel like I'm a better angler. But like, I love how you can now watch like your shallow water scoping, pulling fish off of the bottom, stopping fish that are actually moving, those pre-spawn fish. Like that is some high level stuff that both organizations have done a really good job of showing that. Like you're like, floaters are so 2023. Would you agree?
Yeah. Yeah, man. Floaters are pretty cool, but man, I hate doing it. I feel like I'm not even bass fishing whenever I'm fishing for a fish that's floating around. Because I mean, realistically, you're probably not going to catch that fish without live scope. You know,
Yeah.
Probably 9 times out of 10 you won't. But I like, as Randy says it best, I like to be intuitive with my bass fishing.
Yeah. Okay. Last question then. Yeah, I'm going to say it. Maybe get, if hypothetically, of course, someone was going to spend 12 hours in the boat in the next couple of weeks with Randy Blockett in a boat that had like live scope and all sorts of stuff and able to ask him any questions that they wanted to. What's one question that you would like asked to said Randy Blockett? Purely hypothetical, Dylan. I would like somebody to ask him why he still runs side scan on his boat. Because if he thinks live scope's cheating, side scan was just as much of a cheater tool, you know, whenever it first came out. And you know, I mean, technology's advancing, and you know, I kind of get where he's at right now because he's making his living off of griping about live scope and you know, telling people that live scope is the worst thing ever. And, you know, if this was, you know, hit him and then you got your Clark Winlets, like those were the first guys to have it, right? They should have had the upper hand on everybody else with it. But then once the younger guys started using it, they wanted to start hating on it. And, you know, those were the guys that were telling us, go get a live scope. Like, it's game changing. Like, this is the next big thing. And, you know, we all did it and they all kind of didn't. And, you know, now they want to gripe about it. But, you know, live scope, my whole argument about live scope, you know, it doesn't really matter to me what I'm doing. I just want to go bass fishing, right? But at the end of the day, live scope has been around. It's a tool now. It's been used heavily for the last 4 or 5 years, and really has put an impact on the fish, right? So you go out there, you have your ledge fisherman 5-10 years ago that's out there just dragging. Randy Haynes.
Yeah, or throwing a crankbait. Like, you're tearing them up for the most part. Like, you could find a school and just throw not necessarily right on them, and you could catch some fish. But nowadays it's like they've had that perfect cast made on them for the last 5 years, and they're so pressured now that it affects the deeper water angler, the guy that wants to live offshore.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, even in the NPFL, like I've been hearing a lot of the guys in the NPFL, they gripe about it because it's like live scope's not here, but that means everybody's on the bank doing the exact same thing that I'm doing. And they don't have the water that they used to have to be able to fish. And the pressure's there. And now you see the same thing with a tournament with live scope is it's like, hey, everybody's offshore and, you know, you don't really have the water that you had. But I think times have completely changed in bass fishing. And, you know, it's a completely new day and age with the electronics and whatnot. And, you know, you kind of, I'm interested to see what the future holds for live scope, whether they completely ban it or, you know, kind of do a split. I really like what they're doing in the pro circuit where it's, you know, you get 3 hours to use it and 6 hours without it. That's, I really like that format a lot. And, I'd be interested to see if they picked up something like that on the Elite Series or just kind of kept it where it's a 50-50 split with or without it.
You got to get down to Mexico. It's like an 80% conversion rate on everything over 8.
I saw that,
Baccarat.
than you had, where they got live scopes on their boats now. I bet
scoping with a 34 and a 16-inch screen out of a Champion fiberglass boat, and it's like 70 to 80% conversion rate on every fish you see over 8. And they do the thing on the bottom on the brakes too, but then they also do the floating thing. So you basically do however you want.
Yeah, you just go out there and catch big ones, huh?
Yeah, I caught an 11-11.
God.
And an 11-2, and a 10-14, and a 10-7, and a 10-4, and then I broke off a teener.
Ah.
Like, literally couldn't even stop it. Felt like a damn flathead until it jumped.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Should I get Trip Berlinski on the show? You sound like you're friends with him and your buddies. I wanted to. I think he'd be a good interview.
Yeah, Trip would be a great one. He's full of energy. He's a great Tom.
How many more of these do you want to win? I mean, the record's 4. The record's 4, Dylan.
Man.
I'm not putting words in your mouth. I'm not trying to get you to do a clip or anything, but I'm just thinking, like, from what I've known about you from our interview today and from what you said, I don't, and you're in it next year, I don't think you plan on just fishing 1 or 2 Bassmaster Classics over the course of your long and illustrious career.
Yeah, I would like to. I would love to be competitive in all the ones I fish, but I think we're going to take it one at a time. Our eyes are set on Hartwell now, and
you're going to be hard to beat at Hartwell. I wonder what they're going to do scope wise. Have you heard anything? Any inkling of how they're going to handle? Because these is going to be the first year that's qualified on Fitty Fitty.
Yeah, I can't imagine that they're going to have another classic that's all live scope for a while.
And you're totally fine with that.
Yeah, I mean it's bass fishing. You know, you got to catch them without it. That's what makes a really good angler, is somebody that can adapt to whether using it or not using it. So we'll see. I mean, I might not catch squat without it, but I might. Never know. That's the one thing, though, and I've talked about it on like with Mercer, is it's a lot more of a struggle for a younger angler nowadays to go fishing without it, just because that's been the only thing that we've been doing for the last 4 or 5 years. Like, a lot of us were great anglers before it, but, you know, now we've been using it. And, I mean, Tucker Smith is a great example. He went to the Ultimate Angler Championship, you know, no live scope on Garden.
$500,000 without it.
Blew it out. You know, he's a great angler with and without it.
He's like an old man now. It seems like that. Like, he wins that. He won the $500,000 in Johnny's deal. He came on. He's like the young, and now all of a sudden he's like 3 generations ago, it feels, and then you realize he's still only 23 years old.
Yeah. No, yeah, but it's tougher for an angler, younger angler nowadays, to go without it, just because they've spent so much time doing it over the last couple of years, where it's like, you know, if you don't practice something over and over, you're gonna get a little dull at it, you know. And
are you in the WBE? Did the Classic win get you in that freaking $3 million deal in Nashville next year or Knoxville next year?
I don't think so.
Wait.
I would like to see that put to a vote, though, because Old Hickory was my home lake growing up, where that tournament's hosted. So that would be. You would think the Bassmaster Classic champion would qualify.
Hold on a second. We got to go into the. We're gonna go into the website live together here.
Let's see it. I don't think I am.
Event 25 and 25 point standings. These are the people that are in it. No, these are just the points for the top 25. And if they've got a star next to them, you're not in it. News, get involved. Oh, there's angler questions on here. I, as Dylan Nutt, would go in and ask them a question. I would fill this out. I would say name, Dylan Nutt, email, phone number, I am Bassmaster Classic champion, subject. I would like to fish this and then question it.
Let me see if they responded. But I mean, I think everybody who wins a tournament qualifies for it, like that's on the regular season. But you would think the Classic would qualify.
You would think that may. I think also, you know, that could be one of those things that just snuck through the cracks because it hasn't happened for so long. This
is the response I got. I said, did I qualify from winning the Classic, ? It said, Dylan, I'm sorry, sir, but the qualification rules are regular season event winners and top 25 in AOI points. So no, I did not qualify.
Oh. I mean, it's his tournament. They do whatever the hell they want. So, I mean, you can't be upset at him for it. The guy's going out on a damn limb and infusing the sport with so many millions of dollars. Like it's good for the sport. And even though you may not be in it this year, you know, you'll be in the game to be in it next year with the top 25 finisher or win.
Yeah, I'd imagine Bank Shaw will be hard to beat in that tournament. He hadn't qualified yet, but I'm going to go ahead and say that he's going to qualify, and he likely will be holding that trophy at the end.
Yeah, I think the reason that they didn't make an exception for you was because there were probably about 20 guys that called and said, no, you can't change it now.
Yep. Part of it, man. But you never know. They might be getting dual threaded. That's a big thing now.
Did you see that Matt Steffen is selling his dual threat jerseys to raise money for St. Jude, and both of them are bid on and over $1,000 a piece?
That's awesome.
Little part of history there.
Yeah. The dual threats, man. If somebody like Bass or MLF or someone stepped up and made an organization like that where it's a professional team trail, man, it would do so good. I mean, that was the most fun tournament trail I've ever fished. Getting to fish around the people that are there, and just getting to compete for a lot of money with Carter. I mean, that was special.
Did you kind of know that there was something sketchy going on, and you're just like, whatever, we'll just see what happens here?
Pretty much. I mean, I didn't think it was sketchy at all until after the first tournament. And
till after the first one, he stood up on the back of his truck and was like, all right, guys.
Sunglasses up and his hood on the whole time, like he's trying to hide himself. And I kind of thought it was a little weird whenever he had his son writing the checks, because I was like, man, he's signing it, but it says his name. And that was kind of interesting. And then I was like, you know what? We're going to go to St. John's next week and go see what happens. And, we were already set on being down there the whole time. So we went there, and it started to seem like it was being ran a little better at the St. John's. And then it was just like, he's gone. Never heard from him.
What do you have to do to qualify for Red Crest? Is there a way you can get into Red Crest this year?
No, I don't think so. Oh, well, actually, if I were to win a pro circuit event, I think Banks just qualified for Red Crest next year. So
you could be in the Classic, and they let you fish it even. Yeah, so you could be in the Classic and Red Crest in the same year.
That would be pretty cool. I don't know. The Thunderbolt ball might not be as good as the Night of Champions, though.
So back in the day, the Night of Champions was legitimately a black tie affair, Dylan.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, I've attended it as a casting kids angler before and had to rent a tuxedo when I was 13 years old. And everybody there, 3-piece suit or tuxedo, no hats, no denim. Like, people rented things like it was a black tie gala. And I've noticed as of recently, there's been some starch jeans that have slid in, maybe a hat here or there, something like that. I'm all for making that thing black tie again. Gowns and 3-piece suits. Yeah,
I mean, I really enjoyed it. Everybody was pretty dressed up. It was a great time, especially just being there with all the elite guys. I mean, they're a blast. Drew Cook's kind of quiet, but he was a lot of fun there.
Oh, you get Drew Cook fired up. He is anything but quiet. You put a case of Busch Lights in front of him. It's
yeah, he's a good time there.
What you said? You have your girlfriend?
Yeah. I did.
What does she think about all this stuff?
Man, she loves it. So it was actually super cool. Our 1-year anniversary was the Night of Champions. So it was just like a great little celebration there. But she kind of got put on the back burner the whole week. And
does she understand the program, that's not any reflection of personal feelings or beliefs, but it's just time to handle business?
Yeah, 100%. And I told her, I said, that's what you knew when you signed up. I mean, I'm a fisherman.
Anything else you want to get in here before I let you go? Like I said, we're an hour and 20 minutes in. I know you got a lot of these this week. I appreciate you getting back to me.
Yeah,
you handled it like a champ. You're representing Bassmaster. You're representing high school fishing, college fishing, and the Bass Nation. extremely well. And there's a lot of us that are in the industry that are really excited to see and follow kind of your career arc over the next couple years here.
Yeah, man. I just want to thank God for all the blessings and the opportunities. I mean, there's so many different times in my life where if I would have chose something different or an opportunity didn't come up, I mean, I wouldn't be standing where I am today. There was a point I almost sold all my bass fishing rods and bought all fly fishing rods. I was really big into fly fishing. There's a lot more of an art to it. And I kind of got bored with bass fishing because I was like, man, you start fly fishing and it's just so much different. And there's so many more technical things to it. And I was in love with it. But if I would have done that, man, I might be in the mountains somewhere being a fly fishing guide. But now I'm a Bassmaster Classic champion. And it's pretty unbelievable.
Yeah, we'll save that for number 2 because I would love to dive into the fly fishing side of that.
Yeah.
It's a little Steve Kennedy-esque, a little reading water, all sorts of stuff. I mean, I think that fly fishing maybe is a really good learning tool, especially where you live and in the areas where you're on current-driven fisheries. Guys like me in Oklahoma where you don't have that, and I grew up in Illinois, like current is hard for me to understand. And, man, you can freaking figure out how to swing a fly. I've done it up in Alaska. I've done it in Colorado. I suck at it. I don't catch it. I get in people's way. But the guys who do, naturally good anglers that translate to all other species on moving water.
Yeah, absolutely. I learned a lot being a fly fisherman and caught a lot of big smallmouth. I would wade the creeks near my house and just go throw. I loved a little popper, man. That thing was special. I caught a lot of big smallmouth on it.
The little foam popper?
Yeah, a little foam popper. And there was an Orvis by my house, so I would always go over there and see what new things I got. But
there you go. I appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely.
Congratulations. Go catch him up, win that angler. Go be your brother at least.
Yeah.
Over on you're the classic champ, man. You got to represent over there now.
Got to, man. Got to.
All right. Thanks, dude. I appreciate it.
Peace.
There you go. Dylan Nutt. Really hard not to like the kid. And I think if you just see the quote, I took it from him. Great. It gets the views. It shows that it does everything. I had this conversation with Mercer. I'll have it live here. It's easy if you're looking for a reason to dislike the win because of his age or because what he wanted on or because of how he won it. It's really easy to look at it and say, look, I knew he was cocky. But when you take that and you put that into the context, like, dude, this is what the freaking sport needs. He's doing it the right way. He's coming up through the nation. He's respectful yet confident. Like, go watch an interview with anybody who's just won a Stanley Cup, an NBA championship, a Super Bowl, a NASCAR race, any of that stuff. It's confidence backed up by results. I do want to make sure before we close off this show today, live now through the 4th, the St. Jude BTL supports St. Jude shirt. 100% of the proceeds go to support St. Jude. Let's try to get to $5,000 on that on the Fishing Chaos online tournament. We're over $4,250 raised. That also goes through April 15th. Frank Scalish live tomorrow. There's the background music. There's the logo. We'll talk to everybody then. See ya.